It is official, I have more vacuum cleaners than rooms, which technically makes me an expert. Hey guys, SwitchBot K10 Plus is here and I have plenty to say about it. Let's start with the size. Look how small it is, but don't let the size fool you, because this is actually quite interesting device and I've got every single piece of information that you probably want before purchasing one of these. If you've seen my unboxing short, you know this comes with a much bigger box, mostly because apart from this rather compact smart cleaner, it also comes with a docking station that extracts all the dirt from that tiny little compartment that is located at the back of the Hoover. And that's great because ever since I reviewed the Yeti vacuum station with the Hoover, which is in the corner there, I fell in love with cleaning stations, mostly because they remove the need of checking constantly on the status of your dustbin, whether it's full or not, because that will impact the cleaning performance of your smart cleaner. And let's face it, you don't want that. So once I've got everything out of the box, I found the smart vacuum cleaner, the K10, the charging and cleaning station, and a couple of accessories, including wet wipes, spare brushes and filter, and a spare bag. So let's start from the vacuum cleaner and what you're actually getting. SwitchBot K10 is a LiDAR equipped, which means it's going to use laser to map your environment around and provide insanely accurate image of your house. That's going to be available in the app. So that's the LiDAR sensor in here. It's going to be spinning around, scanning everything while this moving, and it will help actually locate things around your house. Now, apart from that, it has a typical bumper, located in the front, but to aid the advanced obstacle avoidance, you also have a sensor in here that will help with that, and one on the side for the corner. Underneath it, you'll find 3 carpet and fall detection sensors, which prevent the sensor from dropping from the desk, unless you're going to use the carpet, which have been sticking outside of the desk, and then, well, that was my fault. And this is as far as sensors goes. Other than that, this connects to your Wi-Fi, 2.4 GHz to be precise, and requires no SwitchBot hub to be used. The cover can be removed to access your cleaning dust bin thing, which, to be fair, it looks really small, especially compared to other vacuum cleaners that I've tested in the past. But since the vacuum has the ability to go back to the dock, empty itself and resume cleaning, it probably won't bother you. And in my test, I found that to be big enough for a 2-bedroom apartment. If you have a bigger house, perhaps the vacuum will need to empty itself first before completing the clean. Moving on to the disposal station, it comes with bags which sadly aren't reusable, but you should be able to match something from your local hardware store or order more from SwitchBot. At the back you have a cord which you can wrap around the cord storage solution, which is nice because it prevents the excess cord from hanging about and getting in the way. I like that solution. But inside the station I found something cool. Now, apart from the cleaning cutting tool, which helps you deal with all the hair that's getting eventually stuck in a brush, you also find a plastic cover that doubles as a mop, because this K10 also can work as a mop. And this is where the wet wipes included come in handy. And I was scratching my head first, like, why did they include the wet wipes? But then I've seen a couple of pictures on the wet wipes and the light bulb moment came to me. Yeah, you basically add a wet wipe on that plastic tray, attach the plastic tray to a Hoover and send it on the way to switch it over into a mop mode. But we're going to talk about it in a second. To get it connected, all you need is a SwitchBot app, and it's not the first SwitchBot product. In fact, I reviewed so many different SwitchBot products. You can check it out, playlist in here, to find out what else you can have in that ecosystem. But the long story short, the connecting process is super simple. Just really open the app, and the vacuum, once it's powered on, it's going to be there waiting to be added to your network, and you can start using it. Your first clean is going to be also a mapping run, which means the vacuum will generate a map of your area and will try its best to make a clean. Be slightly forgiven, because while it's mapping, it might not be the most clever beast in terms of resolving the paths. But once you have a map, especially once you edited the map and set up your rooms, set up the no-go zones, the cleaning efficiency. I found this Hoover to be capable of cleaning 2-bedroom apartments, or about 120 meters in total, in approximately an hour. And that's about the full charge of the maximum power settings that this vacuum is capable of, so it's really pretty efficient. I mean, it's on par with other vacuums that I've used in the past. They probably have a little bit more battery left, but considering the size, this vacuum is honestly probably half as big as the other units that I've got in here right now. Apart from map editing features, you also have access to stuff like voice controls. Sadly, those are limited to start the vacuum and select a cleaning mode. There's no support for selecting rooms and cleaning individual areas. And I think this is a limitation from Alexa or Google Home, because I've reviewed several different vacuum cleaners and none of them actually supported that, even though they did support custom areas selected from the app. So I don't know what's going on, but that feature isn't really there. But what you do have is funky features, like using this as a RC robot, so you can actually use your mobile phone to steer it wherever you want, especially if you've got a lazy cat which doesn't want to really move anywhere. And the usual, like schedules, different power modes, and ways to configure this in terms of do not disturb, and even different voice packs if you want to change the language or just fancy having your Hoover to speak to you in a different voice. One of the really thoughtful features was actually a child lock, which disables the physical buttons on this device. So if you do have a small kid really curious about pressing all the buttons, it will keep the vacuum safe. But it's enough with the theory. Let's actually do some practical tests. And we're going to start with a fall test, because some of you might have stairs. I do not have stairs anymore, which means I have to leave the vacuum on the desk and see if it falls to its demise. It did not. It actually cleaned the entire table and returned itself to the dock without pushing the dock, which is nice. And the cleaning pattern, although slightly confused because of the radar was reporting much bigger area around it than the Hoover was able to move, so it took him a while to figure out, but it did clean everything accurately, which was plus. Encouraged by that, I decided to actually perform a cleaning test in which I would spread some flour and sugar on the hard surface and on the carpet. Okay, it's not a carpet, it's a doormat, but it looks like a carpet and it's equivalent to a medium-sized carpet really. So I soiled it with flour and sugar as well. And as you probably noticed, I had to save the Hoover because I let the carpet stick out outside of the desk, which then tricked the fall sensor into false security and caused my vacuum cleaner to go slightly suicidal. But once I fixed the issue and the vacuum completed the clean, which lasted only a couple of minutes, I started to investigate the quality of the clean, and generally I was super impressed. For something that is this small, it performed pretty neat clean on the hard surface, despite flour being a pain in the neck to clean from surfaces like that. And on the carpet, it removed all of the sugar, something that some of the vacuums actually struggle. So this at the maximum settings is really powerful. I could not believe there was not a single piece of sugar just floating about in there, so well done. Now granted, if you switch over to a quieter mode, you might have a different performance depending on what kind of carpets you've got, but if you really want to have a clean carpet, give it a go on the maximum power settings and you will be happy. Ever since I looked at what's given to me in terms of mopping solution, it was that weird tray that kind of covers up the main brush and then the wet wipe that you attach to it. And while the wet wipe made perfect sense because it's nice to have a wet solution with some kind of cleaning liquid that will do probably a good job at removing dust from the floor, that dust and grime and everything has absolutely nowhere to go because you just covered a main brush using that plastic tray, which really didn't even take that much of a thinking that would create a problem. So in the same test in which I disposed some of the flour and sugar on the table, the Hoover was struggling in more than one scenario. First of all, that is a very smooth and slippery surface. And considering how much moisture is stored in that wet wipe, it caused the Hoover to slip. Fortunately, I didn't have the same problem on the floor. On the floor, I actually was able to get some traction, but your traction is going to depend on the surface that you have, because that wet wipe, it's going to ruin it for you. Second of all, instead of cleaning everything, it was just shoving dirt around, creating lines. Yeah, if you want a mop, there is a nice mop in here that you can take a look at, but this is not a mop, and that mop should be really an optional feature, which in order for this mop to function correctly, you'd have to run the Hoover first to remove all the big particles of dust from the floor, and then go in there, switch it over to a mopping, add that wet wipe, and probably wait for the Hoover to recharge, and then run it again. In a defense of the SwitchBot, it runs absolutely silent in the mopping mode, so it's not going to be as annoying as the vacuum going around and hoovering. But as far as my recommendation go, it's brilliant for carpets and hard floors, but as soon as you're trying to use it for mopping, you might as well just give up and wait for the release of S10, which actually has pretty cool solutions that they are kickstarting it right now. So check out the link in the description for a dedicated mopping solution from SwitchBot, because K10 Plus isn't it. Now that you know that this is a brilliant carpet cleaner but rubbish mop, let's talk about pricing. On launch, this device is expected to cost $499, which honestly, considering what you're getting, a smart vacuum cleaner and a cleaning station, it's a pretty good deal. But you can make it even better, and if you make up your mind right now, when the video is being released, then you can lower this price to $399. And trust me, for the performance that you're getting and the fact that you're getting a cleaning station as well as the smart vacuum, it's a steal. So head to the description of this video and check out the links for the K10 Plus from SwitchBot, because it is something that you probably want to consider. As for now, I do not have a posting schedule. Hopefully, I'm gonna get my hands on the S10 version, which is connected to a plumbing. I really want to check that out, and that's a proper mop. And I'll be able to share my thoughts with you. As for now, since I don't have a posting schedule, use the YouTube tools provided to keep in touch. You know how those things work. Leave me a comment in the comment section, follow me on social media, and let's start a conversation. So for now, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! There's actually all the lights just came off because it's like my do not disturb time, which is like midnight. Oh god.